All right, so OnShape, I am not familiar with it, but a lot of things we're doing right now are unfamiliar. And so I not only am learning how to edit videos, but I'm learning a new CAD software. And OnShape is free for education, so you should by now already have a free account. And what you're going to do is you're going to log in, and once you log in, this is kind of, I've already got a few different things going, and as you can see here, I've got a test. And what we're going to do is we're going to make an emoji cutout. And my goal is that if we could get a 6-inch by 6-inch circle or 6-inch radius circle of your emoji of choice, appropriate emoji of choice, I will cut them all out, and somehow I'll figure out how to get you your steel silhouetted emoji, right? So first thing you want to do is actually upload an image of the emoji you want to use. You can do it later on, and I'll show you how to do that, but it's a little bit easier to do it ahead of time, and I figured this out after several different tests, okay? So you're going to go to Create, and you're going to go to Import Files, and then you're going to just pick a picture, and then you're going to open. It's going to load up. You can see I've already done this several times. Well, delete all. We've already done them all. So we have the emoji. It's down here somewhere. Blank, but you'll see these files that you've uploaded, at least one emoji, and you can just pull that emoji offline anywhere. Open up a window tab, search images for emoji, crazy face emoji, sad emoji, excited emoji, whatever. Now you're going to go to Create and Document. Document is our first one that we're going to do. And you're just going to put this, put your name. Please put your name, Jared M. Emoji. Okay. Now, I know most of you have never done CAD systems before, and there's a lot of cool stuff that these systems will do. They can totally help you plan a project when you get to that point. But right now, we're just going to try and do two-dimensional stuff, and then we can export the files and then download them and we cut them out. All right, so this is a three-dimensional space. You may not be able to see it. You do have a lot of tutorials for OnShape. They have an excellent user library. I'll upload that link. You have a right button, a left button, and a center wheel most of the time. I would recommend a mouse, not a trackpad. Trackpad will be very frustrating. Try and get a mouse. Right click allows you to spin your space. And now you're all sorts of discombobulated, right? If I go over here, I can click on one of these faces and it automatically brings it up. So I'm looking at the back. So you can see front is written backwards. Well, if I go click this way, it goes between back and left view, straight left view, backwards right there, okay? Click 2 more times and I'm back to the front view. Again, if I right click on my mouse, I can kind of spin things. I can sort of get ski-wampus. But if I can come over here to my little cube and click on front, I'll always get in there. Now your center wheel will zoom in and then zoom out. So I'm rolling towards the screen, I'm rolling away from the screen, zoom in, zoom out. Center click on the wheel causes you to just pan, bringing your workspace in and out. And then left is a highlight. If I had something here, I'd click, drag, let go, and that would be highlighting. So that's kind of the basics of your mouse and how you use it, all right? I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on sketch. Now I need to select a plane to sketch. I'm going to select the front plane because we're just going to keep it simple here. Selecting the front plane. Now, this is where inserting your image comes in. You're going to go to your little toolbar right here. All the way to the end, it has a little, says insert DXF, DWG, or insert a image. Click that little drop down caret, insert image. Okay, so there's nothing currently here, and I'm going to move my face, make it smaller. There it is. You could import, if you hadn't already uploaded it, you can import at this point down into your downloads, okay? Then you could find your image and upload it. But since we have it on another document, I can go to other documents and my OnShape, and then it'll bring up all my several emojis that I have, right? Peace sign. Okay, emoji, star. We're just going for this star. Double click. Now, draw a rectangle. And there it is. Now it's working. Draw image rectangle. Okay, I'm going to start. Click right button. Drag out. Let go. Okay, so there's my big emoji, right? Now, I'm going to go, we just clicked this insert image button, and now I'm going to go to dimension. And I'm going to click on this top dimension, pull it up, and I'm going to put 6 inches because that's how big I want it to be. I'm going to go to side view. So that's how big my emoji is going to be, 6 inches by 5 3/4. All right. Now you're not done sketching. Don't click the green checkbox yet. All right. Now you're going to start. You want to position this just a little bit. So if I look, my emoji happens to be about the same size as my squares, my front plane squares, and that's actually perfect. You want that to be centered right then. It's going to be really easy for us to maybe do, especially not have to draw the stars so many times, if we can have this center line through here, so we can have it replicate without having to redraw it. And I'll show you that in a second. But now I'm going to go up here to the front toolbar, this top toolbar again, click on circle. And because I tried to center this up a little bit, I should be fairly close to click. And I don't need to drag. I can just click once, unclick, and then when I get to about where I want to stop, I'm going to click again. Okay, now I'm still selecting the circle, so if I try to like maybe drag it now, it's just going to draw another circle. I don't want to do that. Control Z undoes it. So now I'm going to take my center point, and I just want to shift it to maybe center it just a little bit more. And if I find that my emoji is not quite centered up, I'm going to take my image. I'm clicking on the image right now. I'm going to drag it. There we go. Now I feel like that's pretty centered. I'm not quite exactly centered, but I'm centered. So there's my overall shape of the emoji. Congratulations, you've drawn a circle. That's good. It is good. Now we have a polygon option, and this might help us. It might not. I'll do one or the other. We'll do a polygon. Find it about the center-ish, and I'm going to drag. And oh, there we go. I'm just actually moving my mouse left and right. It's crazy how that works. I'm learning as we go. Left, get it to 5. If I go right, it goes higher. So I'm going to just click. And at this point, I don't want to drag anymore. So I'm just going to unclick here. And it is definitely pinpointed right there. Click on a point, drag. and click on the center thing, drag, try and get that star. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but unless you're OCD, and then maybe it needs to be perfect. Again, a mouse, definitely recommended. Trackpad, very frustrating. Okay, so what we're going to do, grab the line tool up here. And I am just going to drag a line all the way up. Don't worry about making it or not making it. And I didn't really get the right exact angle I wanted, so I'm going to double click. And that stops my line. And I can come up to this little scissors and I can trim that line back. I'm going to click on the scissors. I'm going to go back to the line tool. I'm going to click on this and I'm just going to intersect it. Now, if I zoom in, I'm going to click on the scissors. I don't need to double click. I could just go right to the scissors. But I could click and click, right? And you're like, well, Masick, that star, what's going on there? I can go to this thing right here. It says sketch fillet. Now, a fillet is basically a round. I know a fillet weld. You're thinking what I'm thinking, but a fillet in drafting is rounding a corner. So I click on this corner. You can see with a radius of 0.25 or a 1/4 inch, it's taking it down here. There we go. I'm going to put 0.15. Oh, I'm still on fillet. That's why. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's working. There we go. That's 0.15. That worked. And it's not an exact science. Again, I could, if I wanted to, just sketch a rough shape, and I can get it very rough looking and do that, right? And that works. Sorry about all the zooming. Still figuring out how to use the controls. I'm used to using SolidWorks, but I don't have SolidWorks at home. The other thing you can do, if you have a little radius corner here, you can go to this 3-point arc tool. Click on that 3-point arc tool, zoom in, and I could approximately go from straight to across there, line up that arc, and then I could go back to my line tool and I could connect. They have to highlight, like see how that little, highlight to highlight, and then highlight to highlight. And that one was less problematic. But either way, we'll probably do that one for the rest of them because that was easy and fast. Okay, and since we're already here. So that is a click, and a drag. All right. So you have to click once, click twice, and then drag to a radius. Okay. I hit just escape there to stop. Go back up to my line tool and connect. And connect. Now these aren't perfect, and that's all right. We're going to have to make a little bit of a modification later on anyways. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on here. And we need to go back to our little trim. Oh, actually, one more. We need to do, because what I'm going to try and do is actually just cause this star to flip over to this side. Okay. And in order to do that, I need a little center point. And so I'm going to draw a line, but I'm going to go to this one right here. It says construction. And I'm just going to put a line down here, a construction line, right? And I just chose the exact center. And apparently my emoji is not exactly square, but I think that's not my problem. That's the artist's problem. But whatever. We're going to go over here to the scissors now. Trim. I want to get rid of all this stuff that's I don't need. So I'm going to just start clicking on all this internal stuff. Get rid of all that because essentially the blue lines are what the plasma cutter on the CNC is going to cut out. Okay? So the plasma cutter will follow all the blue lines. And so essentially we don't want this here either. And we don't want that there either. Okie dokie. So now that that's done, we're going to go to mirror. All right. And pick that. Ah, there we go. See how that popped up over there? Well, now we need to select, oof, I know it may seem like a lot, but you just select the lines that you want to mirror. And what's happening is it's using this as my, let's say the center binding on a book. And I'm going to take one page and I'm flipping it over to the next side. So I am just selecting all of these lines. Now I just chose a random emoji, just a regular smiley face one with regular eyes is going to be easier. Now because I did a little crazy one right here, this one might be a little bit more challenging because I have to select each one of these guys. And there we go. Zoom out. Oh, look at that beautiful emoji. Okay, so the eyes are done. The silhouette is done. Teeth and mouth. Whew. All right, so hopefully you're thinking what I'm thinking. This 3-point arc will work really well. And I can just select from one side of the emoji to the other side. Look at this. Fantastic. I'm going to zoom in on his face. And I can make things very abrupt and just do a hard solid, but I can also make it smooth by making a 3-point arc inside here, right? And then I can select the end of that one. Ooh, wrong way, zoom. Pan over here, select on this side, approximately the same height. It does try and give you a reference. You can kind of see this orange line going across. That's trying to tell you that it's horizontal to each other. So you can see it's not exactly perfect. I could go back and I'm going to hit escape and I'm going to show you what else I could do. I'm going to hit 3-point arc again. And I'm just going to do a series. I'm going to go split it into thirds. I'm going to do a 3-point arc here to follow it. And I'm going to do across the middle and get that level again. And I'll follow it here. And then I'll do one more and I'll go up here. And again, lining things up. And I might need to zoom in here. Hit escape. So I'm not drawing another. I'm going to grab this point and I'm just dragging it. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And then I can hit 3-point arc again. And there we go. Zoom out. Pan over. Zoom out. Pan over. There we go. And then I will click from cheek to cheek. And there we go. I'm going to do my teeth. I got to do the side of my teeth here. I can click to point, and I can just make it look like that. Now, I'm going to pan, center wheel click, drag left to right, and just click and click. And that's good enough, right? So, I need to do a couple things. I need to trim out these parts right here. Okay. And my emoji's done. Now, the hard thing, what's going to happen is that if you can imagine when we cut this with the CNC, solid shapes. A complete blue path will be a complete path and it'll fall out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop sketching right now. I'm going to say my sketch is complete. So I'm going to hit this green check mark. Boom. All right. And so it turns everything a little gray. I'm going to go over to this extrude, this first little square right here. Boom. And now I'm going to select the outlines, right? I definitely want my big face. So I'm going to select that. And it all turns dark. Perfect, right? Well, you can see that my teeth aren't connected to my face, and so that sounded funny. It's not going to stay put. If you can imagine this being a solid piece of steel, the teeth are going to fall out when the mouth is cut out. Okay. Likewise, if I extrude over here and I extrude over here, when I cut the star shape out, it'll just be a big wide open. And let me just unclick those real quick. And I'm going to click on his teeth. Okay, this is what your emoji would look like if you cut it out right now. That doesn't look very impressive, does it? So I have to edit the sketch. I'm going to edit my sketch. So the thing is, I somehow need to make this connected. And the easiest way I've been able to do that is usually go in with my trim, and if I click on my trim, I can split something, and you see how I can make all of this be like a silhouette. And so if I trim right here, long story short, I'm going to trim right there. I'm going to trim right there. Trim here. I'm going to trim there. I'm going to go back into my actual trim. I don't know why that thing's right there. Trim right here. And I'm going to now, as so now that we've finished the trimming here, I need to connect my teeth to my mouth. And I don't know if there's a really good way or not to do that, but edit. I can connect things with a little straight line. So I'm going to click the line tool, straight down, right click, escape line. There we go. That's good. Line tool. I guess it works. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the teeth was a bad idea. You could probably ditch the teeth. We're going to leave the teeth for now and see how silly they look. Hit escape. Now I'm going to go back to my trim. Trim the top tooth. Lip to the whatever. That's going to look really weird now. All right. So you can see we trimmed this side and we connected the teeth up to here. This might look weird, but this side we didn't do anything to. It's still gonna fall out. One of the things that is really important with a plasma cutter is that between cuts, so if I'm cutting right here, up and around, blah, 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 as I'm cutting around here, if the distance between this point and this other cut is less than I mean, even this is kind of tight. So this is 0.15. That's the smallest I would like two cuts to be close to each other with, if that makes any sense. Because if it's closer that 0.15, the heat from the plasma cutter will connect those two spots and they'll melt away. They'll obliterate it, essentially. So you hit this little dimension tool up here, click on a spot, click on another spot, and you can kind of tell that, hey, guess what? This is actually not going to pull out the dimension I want. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to try putting a little dot, a little point directly across right there. And then I'm going to try dimensioning, and I'm going to see how close. 1, 3. Yeah, see, that's pretty close. That might work. Okay, but that's how you would dimension between those spots. I would then click on it and then hit delete later on to get rid of that stuff. You don't want it in the way. The dimension's fine. All right, so one of the things I noticed too is that this is going to look really silly. I don't think it's going to look like teeth. I think it's going to look like a weird mustache. So I'm going to throw in another silhouette cut. I call them silhouette cuts because essentially they're not going to drop out. They are going to be the plasma cutter is going to do a single line cut, and it'll just try and maintain that shape of teeth, give you the appearance. So if you were to paint it, let's say, you could still paint it white beneath that line and then yellow up above here, and you could paint the stars different colors, and you would kind of have like a silhouette-y look to it. All right, so we have both stars edited. We have the dimensions, at least, and you would want to check every cut line. So even like between these 2 points, between these two stars right here, if those two stars, as I cut through here and I cut through here, if the points between the closest ones, probably here and here, if that was closer than 0.15, I would be surprised if they didn't connect when you cut through one side and then cut through the other, right? And then the stars it'd be a big hole right there. Just because the metal's so hot, the plasma cutting is 30,000 degrees. Okay. So we're going to back on out of that. We're going to come over here. Everything's sketched up. We're pretty much done. Exit the sketch, hit the green check mark. You're going to right click on the sketch and you're going to export as DXF-DWG. You're going to store file in new tab, which basically populates it down here on the bottom of my screen. So we're going to export. Okie dokie. And it's right here. And I'm going to click on it. And it's going to show up. And I will use my little center scroll. Right. Okay, so at this point, my emoji's somewhat fancy, right? And I would want to take this emoji and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click share. And individuals, I'm pretty much sure you just type in my email address right here. jared.matzik@nebo.edu. Add. And then I click share. And I can edit. I would prefer it if I could edit it. That way, if I need to tweak something before we cut it, or I need you to tweak it, we can now collaborate back and forth and share it. Look at that. Can't be shared with the owner. Bummer. So there we go. That is it. Now, if I go back to OnShape, and I'm going to show you my test one. Right. This is my crazy-eyed emoji. And, right, we did a pretty decent job. Get the front cleaned up right here. I haven't done the drawing of it yet So this is, it turned out because I connected the eyes that would have fallen out normally with these little fillets, right? If we go back into my sketch, you can see how I just put those in there. Okay. This was a rectangle where I did a fillet on the corners. All right. So I'm going to say we're done. I'm going to right click on extrude sketch. Yeah, either way. I can right click on the sketch, export as DXF to WG. I could name it, you know, crazy eye. Whoop, crazy eye. Show file, new tab, export, crazy eye DXF, and we're gonna let it load. And I can come out here. And don't worry about these XY things. I don't think they're going to be an issue, but there's my XY emoji, or my crazy eye emoji. There he is. Now, again, approximately 6 inches by 6 inches. So it's really important that when you first start this up, I'm going to go back down here to my part studio. I click on my sketch. I'm going to edit my sketch. When I click on my emoji, and I draw that very first one, that I can dimension it. Click on the dimension tool, click on the edge of the emoji, 6 inches. Okay. And so yeah, that's brutal. But we figured it out. Tons of tutorials on their learning library, and I will include that somewhere in the description of this, but an emoji, 6 inches. But the main thing you need to remember is the distance between one cut and another cut. You need to keep that distance at least 0.15 apart. Okay? If you get them too close, it'll just melt and everything will fall apart. Got it. Okay, good luck.